Side Easter eggs are arguably one of the most underrated aspects of Call of Duty Zombies. They've existed for a long time, but most people don't really talk about it when they are talking about Zombies maps. Usually they're talking about the actual core mechanics of the map or the main Easter egg. Side Easter eggs usually go underlooked. And unfortunately, ever since Black Ops Cold War Zombies, I really do feel like side Easter eggs have taken a bit of a nosedive when it comes to their quality and how interesting they are in Zombies maps. First of all, let's start off and actually define what side Easter eggs even are. They can be called side Easter eggs or side quests. Really, either of those terms are interchangeable for me personally, but basically side Easter eggs are any sort of quest related thing on a Zombies map that doesn't involve the main Easter egg. So any step of an Easter egg or the Pack-a-Punch quest leading up to the Easter egg, all of those things are things that you need to do for the main Easter egg, so obviously they would not be considered side quests. And before we get into talking about the downfall of these side quests over time, let's start off and talking about how they actually came to be in the first place. So anything before Black Ops 2, I wouldn't even really call a side quest. There are some side Easter eggs of some sort, whether it's something that's hidden or obviously like radios and the Easter egg songs that were hidden, but none of those are really quests. They're just kind of like little Easter eggs that kind of give you something either more to the story or, like I said, with the Easter egg song. And these type of side Easter eggs definitely continue even past Black Ops 2. There's tons of jump scares throughout Zombies, and even one on Horizon where you get to turn a disco on and it turns into a little dance party. There's been plenty of fun side Easter eggs throughout Zombies history for sure, but it's not really my main focus of this video, although it definitely is something I do still care about and I think is still important. But my main focus is going to be on actual side quests that give you rewards that help you against the zombies. You could argue that the free perk rewards from Black Ops 1, whether it was killing George or defeating all the monkeys before they touch any perks and giving you a free perk, you can argue those are side quests, but I personally wouldn't really consider those side quests. They're more so just rewards you get for doing specific things on the map. They're kind of hidden, and that's not something that everyone's just going to know about right away. So like I said, if you want to consider that a quest, that's fine. You could say that side Easter eggs kind of started with that, but we're not going to consider that for the sake of this video. I would say the first real side quest came in with Black Ops 2 Zombies, when you had Mob of the Dead especially, and then into Buried and Origins. So Mob of the Dead obviously had the Hell's Retriever and Redeemer quests, which technically you do need the Hell's Retriever for the main Easter egg, but the Hell's Redeemer is the additional upgrade for the Hell's Retriever that was considered a side quest because you didn't have to do it for the main Easter egg. And then of course you also had the Golden Spork, which is a really cool side Easter egg that is obviously really useful and it's really fun to go for. Buried had the free perk from the piano that you can do using the ballistic knife, and there was also a lot of other map mechanics that almost felt like side quests in and of themselves, like with all the buildables and all the things you can do with Leroy, but those were more so map mechanics more than anything, so I wouldn't really call those side quests. You go to Origins, you had the free perk dig sites that gave you free perk bottles and it allowed you to get more perks than you could just normally on the map, and then of course you also had the free MG08 side quest. And Origins is also a good example of a map where there are so many elements to the main Easter egg and so many rewards you get for the main Easter egg that in a way you could consider a lot of those different rewards as separate quests, and they could be side quests if you're not doing the Easter egg. Because technically if you're not doing the Easter egg, then yeah, going for the Thunder Punch or going for the airstrike grenades or even just going for any individual staff, like you don't have to do the full Easter egg just to get the ice staff. You can just get the ice staff and then just go from there. So technically all these different things can be considered quests in and of themselves, but obviously I wouldn't consider them side quests as a whole. But keep that in mind going forward for the rest of this video because there's a lot of maps that are just like that, especially within Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4. Black Ops 3 takes things to the next extreme where each map has way more side Easter eggs than ever before and way more useful rewards. So Shadows of Evil went really far with it. You have upgraded Trip Mines quest, upgraded Little Arnie's, upgrade Shield, a free Gobblegum quest, and even a Margwa mask. But what is really important to keep in mind is that not all of these quests are good or even like decent, because some of them, like the Shield upgrade, absolutely sucks and shouldn't even be considered a quest because of how bad it is. It is kind of a useless quest to do. The Shield upgrade is not worth it whatsoever, and the quest to get it is not fun at all. But some of the other ones, like the upgraded Little Arnie's, is very useful and is actually quite fun to go for. But to be fair, this was one of the first maps that actually had a lot of side quests, so they didn't quite perfect the formula yet for what side quests should be. When it comes to the DLC season for Black Ops 3 Zombies, you had obviously stuff like the Panzer Claw helmet on Horizon, the Spiderbait quest on Zetsubonoshima, which is by far one of the best side Easter eggs ever. Garad Crovey had stuff like the Valkyrie helmet, the Mangler helmet, the Dragon Wings, upgraded monkey bombs, the upgraded shield, which was all really insane. You also had the melee weapon time trials on Grodkrovi and Revelations. Revelations had the God Mask, which was one of the coolest things ever in Zombies. All of these rewards here were genuinely really useful. I mean, that God Mask of Revelations would literally be one of the most powerful things on any map at this point. Like, you would literally be safe for the rest of the game with that God Mask, at least, you know, mostly safe. You could take up to like 14 something hits with that God Mask. It was insane. Going into Infinite Warfare Zombies, the main side quests that were available on every single map were, of course, the Ghosts and Skulls quests. Each of these quests were basically entire Easter eggs of themselves. They basically were just as long as main Easter eggs, and in some cases, like with Spaceland and Raven the Redwoods, the Ghosts and Skulls quests were even more in-depth and took even longer than the main quests themselves. So these were definitely really replayable and gave you great rewards, such as a Perkaholic, which obviously is really insane. And then of course you also had other quests on these maps, such as the Double Pack-a-Punch quests that each of the maps had. World War II Zombies definitely had less quests than Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare, but there still was stuff there. The reason why they didn't have as many side quests is because of how crazy and in-depth the main quests were in this game, like easily some of the most complicated and insane quests we've ever seen before. So we didn't really need to have all these other side quests to make the maps replayable, but they did have some. They had stuff like the classic PPSH Easter egg on the Final Reich and the Shadow Throne, and you had the Pack-a-Punch mystery box on Groston House, the Hangman quest on Shadow Throne, stuff like that. There was quite a few little things. There was a Perkaholic quest on Frozen Dawn as well. All of these obviously were still pretty cool, but weren't as much as what we had in BO3 and Infinite Warfare. And then BO4 comes out of nowhere and gives us the absolute most amount of side quests we have ever seen in Zombies history up until this point. I'm not going to go through all of them, but trust me, there is a lot. You have stuff like the Fire Immunity quest on 9, the Voyage of Despair Ice Shield, and the upgraded Bowie Knife quest on Voyage, the Blood of the Dead Golden Spork Knife quest, which is a very long quest. It involves many different things on Blood of the Dead. You have the Savage Impaler and the Wooden Stake melee weapon on Dead of the Night. You have the Ancient Evil Exalted Gauntlets, which is essentially a second upgrade for the Ancient Evil Gauntlets. You have the Round 200 Easter egg on Alpha Omega and Togger Toten, as well as the Mark II variants on Alpha Omega, which technically are side quests because you don't need them for the main Easter egg on that map. You have the Togger Toten Yellow Snowballs. You have the Heat Pack. There are so many different things on all of these maps in BO4 that are all very unique and rewarding, and actually most of them are pretty fun to do. Not all of them. Some of them do kind of suck, but a lot of them are great. The main point here is that these games had a lot of different side quests that actually gave unique and interesting rewards, and there was actually some level of depth to these quests. So there was something that you actually had to learn and master over time, and not something you would be able to do basically on your first attempt. When we go into Black Ops Cold War, unfortunately, there just isn't that many side Easter eggs on the maps anymore. And for the side quests that are there just aren't very good. For example, one of them on Cold War just involves you shooting 5 blue orbs on D Machine, and then you get some free loot after the zombies do that little coffin dance. Now, don't get me wrong, the first time I saw that quest, I thought it was pretty hilarious. They were obviously utilizing that meme at the time with the coffin dance. I thought that was kind of cute, but after multiple times, it just becomes so boring. There's nothing to learn there. There's nothing interesting about it. It's just you shoot 5 things and you get a couple things of loot. How is that a great quest? It's obviously not a great quest. And sometimes they do have quests that give unique rewards, like for example, the free jump pads on Firebase C, but that reward is useless. Nobody needs free jump pads on Firebase C. First of all, I barely use the jump pads on Firebase C, but to actually even get the free jump pads in the first place, you have to play this movement puzzle thing, which is kind of fun in theory, but it does not work in practice whatsoever because it is really finicky and you can easily fail it even if you're doing it correctly. So it's a really frustrating quest that isn't even rewarding in the slightest, so there's really never any point to do it. One of the only really cool quests in Black Ops Cold War was the upgrades for Klaus on Mauer de Toten. Mauer de Toten in general is definitely the best map in this game, and part of the reason is because of Klaus. I genuinely think Klaus is pretty cool. Some of the upgrades you do need to do for the Easter egg, so they wouldn't really be considered side quests, but there are some extra upgrades that you don't have to do for the Easter egg, therefore those are side quests. And like I said, they're pretty cool and actually kind of rewarding. There is a Simon Says quest on Forsaken that rewards you a Perkaholic, which obviously does sound like a really good reward. In any other Call of Duty, that would have been a great reward, but this is Black Ops Cold War we're talking about, the easiest Call of Duty zombies of all time, one that getting all the perks is not difficult whatsoever. Therefore, I don't really see this as that great of a reward. By the time you do this quest, you're probably going to be able to have enough points for all the perks anyways, so there really isn't much of a point to doing it. And I'm going to be skipping over Vanguard and Modern Warfare Zombies because they didn't really have many side quests necessarily. There's some side Easter eggs to get like free perks on Modern Warfare Zombies, but it's a very different type of mode, so there's really no point of talking about it. Now, when we get to Black Ops 6 with the maps we have thus far, things definitely improved from Cold War. This is 100% better than that. There are way more side quests on every single map. Actually, Terminus has the most amount of side quests on any map ever. But, of course, quality over quantity any day of the week. Just because Terminus has a bunch of side quests does not necessarily mean all the quests are great or worth doing or fun. And that goes for every Black Ops 6 map so far. Even though it's a step above Cold War, it is still not nearly as good as those side quests were from Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, and Black Ops 4. The rewards are not unique. And the ones that are unique, like Etherella, Mega Stuffy, and the Chest Guardian, all are limited use things that go away after like a few minutes, and you just can't use it again in that match. So like, what was the point of getting it at all? And for instances like the Chest Guardian, it barely does anything. It doesn't even revive you, and it barely kills the zombies. So why would I bother going for it? A lot of the other quests just give you loot, like a salvage, rarity increases, or free perks, and stuff like that, quite frankly, is just not that interesting. I can get those things just by playing the game normally. I don't mind having some quests like that. There's nothing wrong with having some of them like that. The problem is when like 90% of them are like that, and it just takes away any bit of interest I have in those side Easter eggs. By far the best side quest in Black Ops 6 Zombies so far is the Cursed Talisman quest, because it's a quest that actually takes some time to do. There's a lot of like story lore behind the quest itself, and the reward is actually unique and it's sort of useful. It gives you this Cursed Talisman that gives you double points when you have the talisman on, but after you get hit by zombies a certain amount of times, it'll take a lot of points away from you. So it's basically like this risk versus reward thing that can give you a lot of points if you're not getting hit by zombies, but if you're getting hit by zombies a lot, you're going to end up losing a lot of points. So it's useful on the earlier rounds when there's not as many zombies, but once a lot of zombies spawn in, it's really not useful like at all. Some of the other like mini game side Easter eggs are pretty cool, like for example the boat racing on Terminus or the bowling Easter egg on Liberty Falls. Those are fine, and I don't really have an issue with those existing. My issue is that there isn't more side quests that have more depth to them, like what Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4 did, as well as having actual unique rewards that are actually really useful. So how could they fix this for future maps? I'm going to give a couple different suggestions when it comes to what they should be doing with their side Easter egg content. First of all, they need to have a good mix of complex quests and simple ones. So I'm completely fine with some of those quests I just mentioned, like for example the mini games like boat racing and the bowling Easter egg, and even some of the other ones as well, like the one where you have to shoot a cannon at a UFO and it drops down loot. Like those quests are fine and I have no issue with them existing. You just need to have at least 2 BO4 level side quests on each map that take at least 30 minutes to complete, like a lot of the Black Ops 4 quests did take to complete. And these quests would obviously have a lot more complexity to them. Maybe there would be actual puzzles involved in them, and they would be quite challenging. They would be things that actually, most of the time when you try it, you're not going to be able to complete it, and it'll take a lot of time to master. But the reward will be really good and useful, so it will be worth doing. But you're probably not going to want to do it every single match, because like I said, it's quite complicated and difficult. But I think that's okay. Some people think that's a bad thing, the fact that a quest wouldn't want to be something you want to do every match, but that actually is what ends up making a quest more special when you don't actually want to do it every single match. That's just the way I see it. I've always felt that way about a lot of the prior quests. There's a reason stuff like the Savage Impaler quest on Black Ops 4 is so special, because you're not going to do it every single game. When you do something every single time you play, it's gonna get boring fast. That's how it works. So if you make it more complex, you make it more difficult, people will do it less. Therefore, when you do it, it will be more special. When it comes to the unique rewards, I would prefer to have like really unique rewards like what we had before, stuff like the Savage Impaler or the Scalpel melee weapon on Blood of the Dead. But I understand why nowadays a lot of the developers don't want to do stuff like that, because they don't want to design a unique weapon or item that's only going to be usable for a very small percentage of people, because obviously the percentage of people who are doing these really complicated quests are going to be really low. Now, I do think they should still implement them regardless, but I'm going to suggest some unique reward ideas that wouldn't involve a lot of extra development time. I'm sure it would involve some extra development time, but not a ton like it would be with creating a whole new weapon. First of all, one of the best ways to do this is simply just allowing us to upgrade things in the game. Upgrading things is the best way to reward players because it's not going to require them to create a whole new item. Rather, it would just make an existing item in the game a bit better. Obviously, you can already upgrade a lot of things in the game. You can upgrade your main weapon through Pack-a-Punch and the rarity system, and then of course, ammo mods, perks, and field upgrades can all be upgraded through the augment system. But there are many other things in Black Ops 6 Zombies that you can't actually upgrade. For example, equipment through the crafting bench. This is something they've actually done before. We've seen upgraded monkey bombs before. We've seen upgraded little Arnies. So why not let us upgrade the Casimirs or the monkey bombs? Or hell, let me upgrade the concussion grenades. Who the hell cares? Like, let us upgrade any of the items in this crafting bench, so when you get them in a match, they will be a lot more useful. And how about score streaks? I mean, we literally have the mutant injection, which is one of the coolest things they've added to zombies in a long time. Why not let us upgrade that and make it more powerful, make it last longer, make it just demolish the zombies unlike it's ever done before? That would be so sick. I can literally think of an upgrade quest for the mutant injection in my mind on the map Terminus. Maybe make it so you have to use the mutant injection in different areas around the map, and you have to kill other manglers in those areas and like charge up some pods or something, and then you have to go back to those pods when you're not in the mutant injection, and you have to like extract them and then put them all together to upgrade the mutant injection. I have no idea. I'm just kind of throwing a random thing out there, but that sounds like a fun quest that would be obviously rewarding because the mutant injection is really useful, and this would make it even more useful. So why wouldn't people want to upgrade it? This would also allow for some more map unique things as well, because I've already been saying that I'm not happy with the fact that a lot of these things are continuing map to map. I don't want the mutant injection to be on every single map, but because it already is going to be on every single map, why not make it so at least one map you can upgrade it, and then the other maps you can't upgrade it, so it's unique on that one map in the sense that you can upgrade it on that map. Stuff like that would be awesome. Why not also let us upgrade traps? Now, technically, they kind of did that on Citadel, where you can throw a Molotov at the oil trap and make it a lot more powerful, but that's not really a quest. That's more so just a little mechanic with that trap itself. Why not give us the ability to upgrade a trap after getting a certain amount of kills with it, and then maybe being able to like add additional parts to it to make it even better? That would be pretty cool. Something that they've really not done frequently before that I thought would be really cool is also letting us open secret paths with side quests, basically making it easier to get around the map. I don't know what specific areas of like Black Ops 6 where they can put this in, but I definitely think that would be really awesome, just like allowing us to get around the map faster in different ways, but having to do a quest in order to open up those secret paths. That could be really interesting. I also think having secondary upgrades for the wonder weapons would be awesome. So obviously the wonder weapons themselves, they have their own little quests to get them, but you have to do those for the Easter egg. Of course, for Terminus, you could technically get the Beam Smasher out of the mystery box. You don't have to do the whole quest for it, but I do think it'd be really cool if there was like another upgrade that was not required for the Easter egg that the Beam Smasher could get. Maybe like some additional parts added to it to make it even more powerful than it is even just through the Pack-a-Punch machine. Obviously, a lot of people were saying that Citadel should have done this with the swords. There should have been a way to upgrade them again that isn't required for the main Easter egg and would make the swords even better. That would have been awesome and probably would have made Citadel like an S tier map for a lot of people. Lastly, I think being able to upgrade power-ups would be really interesting. Obviously, just for that match, it wouldn't go on for like multiple matches going forward. I mean, that's basically every Easter egg I've been talking about here would be all rewards that would be just for that match itself. Once you end that game, you have to redo that side Easter egg the next game, of course. But for the power-ups, like, why not make it so there's a quest you can do that will make all power-ups now last 45 seconds instead of 30 seconds? Like, for example, for double points and insta-kill, they would now last much longer. Also, maybe something that makes it so power-ups drop more often. Obviously, there's some gobblegums that already do that, but in general, just having that as, like, an actual quest you can do would be obviously very useful. So stuff like that would actually be worth doing. Even if it's a really complex quest that takes a while, people would do it. And you might be wondering, like, Fusion, why do you want these quests to take so long? Why do you want them to be so complex? Well, I already kind of mentioned before, I like the idea of having to learn something and take a while to master it, but also I just like having a lot of things to do on a map. My least favorite feeling in Call of Duty Zombies is when I'm playing a map and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, I really have nothing left to do in this match. I might as well just end the game. Obviously, usually that isn't the case. Usually there is something left for me to do, but if it's not rewarding or interesting, then why am I going to do it? The best maps are the ones where you feel like you have so many different things you can do on the map, and it's all interesting things. It's all things that are rewarding and give you cool rewards that will help you either to do more quests afterwards or just to survive with the rewards that are cool. Like I said, if the rewards are cool, it's going to be more fun to survive with them. It's also a great way to make a map feel more unique. The more unique the quest is and the more unique the rewards are, the more unique the map is going to be. That's just how it is. That's how it's always been with Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4 especially. And because we've had so many side Easter eggs over the past 2 games that have simply just been going around the map, shooting objects, and then getting loot, it's just, that's not interesting. That's not unique. That doesn't set that map apart from any other map. So all in all, the downfall of side Easter eggs over time in Call of Duty Zombies has really hurt the franchise for me personally. I know this is something that doesn't affect a lot of people. Many people don't really care about side quests, but I think they are almost just as important as the main Easter eggs. I don't like to do the main Easter eggs every single time I play a Zombies match, so having a lot of side quests to do is what keeps these maps more replayable. It's what keeps me going back to them again and again and again. There's a reason I love going back to BO3 and BO4 is because of their side quests. They're fun to do, they're interesting, they're unique, and we really need to get back to doing at least some of those for each map going forward. So hopefully the developers will do that in the future, but unfortunately I'm just not expecting that for Black Ops 6 anymore. I'm expecting the rest of the DLC season to be very similar to Terminus and Citadel, where each of the quests are basically just simple things that give you some loot, and that's about it. With 1 or 2 here or there that give you some sort of unique reward, but ultimately is a disappointing reward that doesn't really help you at all. Now, I would love it if the developers went ahead and updated Terminus, Liberty Falls, and Citadel and actually made those existing rewards a bit better, because they could do that. For example, Etherella on Liberty Falls, where you get to actually play as Etherella. That's a cool quest, don't get me wrong, but why not make it so you can do it multiple times in the match? Why is it something you can only do once? Why not make it so after you do it, it then goes into the crafting bench, and so now if you want to use Etherella again, you just have to craft it for, let's say, 3,000 salvage or something like that. And then for Mega Stuffy on Terminus, why not make it so I could just go up to the Mega Stuffy thing again and use it after Mega Stuffy leaves the first time? And also make Mega Stuffy more powerful. Why can't this thing kill any zombies? But that's going to do it for this video. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Peace out.